and welcome to 18.2 launch week and our first webinar, What's New in 18.2 for CodeRush, presented by Chief Scientist of the IDE team, Mark Miller. We have officially released, and all you have to do is click the My Downloads link and you'll see our latest version, 18.2.3. In this session, Mark will highlight recently developed CodeRush features to help you write code, refactor, debug, and work more cohesively as a team. This session is being recorded and will be made available on our DevExpress YouTube channel later today, and we will send the link to the recording in a follow-up email. We will also do a live Q&A at the end of this presentation. Just type your questions in the GoToWebinar control panel at any time throughout the broadcast. All right, thank you so much for joining us. I will now hand things over to Mark.
Thanks, Amanda, so much. Welcome, everyone. I'm glad you're here. That's me right there. That's super cool picture. We'll just jump right into it so we don't waste anybody's time, and we try to give you as much content in as short a period of time as we can. CodeRush has, in 18.2, first thing I should say is we are on a 30-day release cycle. So every 30 days we run a sprint and we release a new version of it. So what I'm about to show you is a summary of the changes we've made over the last 6 months in the product, but we are updating every 30 days. So your what's new is going to change again in another 30 days when our next sprint comes out. Inside in the area of web development, we made a number of improvements and enhancements in terms of porting CodeRush features over to JavaScript and TypeScript. In the move to CodeRush for Roslyn, in the move to the product was originally called CodeRush for Roslyn to the Roslyn engine. Roslyn gave us a great engine for working with VB and for C#, but there was nothing there for JavaScript or TypeScript. So these features had some catch-up to do in that move to that product, and this is the catch-up that we're doing right now. The cool thing about this is that you get support for JavaScript and TypeScript without the overhead that we had with CodeRush Classic and that other competing tools have as well, because we're exploiting the Roslyn engine for C# and VB development. So we're bringing this in. We're maintaining our focus on reliability, robustness, performance, and low memory usage. So those are our focuses. We feel like we're winning against the competition in these areas, and so we're going to continue to prioritize those going forward. Specifically for web development, JavaScript and TypeScript support has a number of features that have now been added to it. You're seeing them on the screen here in front of you right now. So these are kind of some core features that are moving across. Among them are CodeRush templates, which is right over here. And CodeRush templates are where you get the really big boost in productivity. We also have a smart cut and copy, selection expansion, tab to next reference, symbol navigation, which is useful as well, multi-select, which is also useful for controlling your smart duplication of line and selection. So these pieces are here. Rich comments, I'll talk about those in a little bit. I want to give you a quick demo of the CodeRush templates so you can get a taste of that. I'm over here inside a TypeScript file. I'll explain the B in a little bit, but I've got a class called Bumblebee. If I want to create another class in here, for example, a hive for the Bumblebee, I'll just type in the letter C and then my template expansion key, which is either space or tab. And you can see it's built all this code for me. I'll just type in hive, hit enter. Now I'm in the parameters for the constructor. I can say, well, let's maybe pass in a number. So I want a variable of type number. I type in VN like that, and then specify the population, for example, population count. Right, like that. And so I type in, what I'm doing is I'm typing in the word hive and population count, but the rest I'm using essentially these sequence of shortcuts. Think of them as gaming combos, like the combos you use if you're going to play a video game, that sort of thing. And so I can come in here and with just a few keystrokes, I can come in here and I can make specifications here and start specifications for the code and building that code very, very quickly. I can say, for example, maybe I want to have a hive name and I want that to be a property. So I can type in P for property, S for string, and then expand it and call it hive name like this. Oops, looks like I changed the wrong thing there. Hold on a second. Yep. Let's do that again. and type in Hive name like this. Okay, and now it gives me my getter, my setter, my backing store, all of that, and I've got the property just by essentially typing in 2 letters, P for property, S for string. N is for number, B is for Boolean, that sort of thing. So it follows the same kind of framework and ideas that are inside of CodeRush for C# and for Visual Basic so that you can program very, very quickly. If I want a new function, I just use the letter F, and inside here, inside a class, it expands this way. And if I'm down outside the class and I use the letter F, it'll expand differently. So it sees what's going on. So that's kind of an overview of some of the power that's in the templates that we have released for JavaScript and TypeScript development. And in the area of CSS, we have added support for structural highlighting, showing color swatches inside of CSS, as well as our color picker, selection, expand, and reduce, structural navigation, and rich comments, which I'll get into again in a moment. In HTML and Razor support, we've added support for structural highlighting, selection, expansion, and reduce, which I feel like I should show. I don't have necessarily a prep demo on this, but I think I can get out here to pages. Let's grab just something here. There's not a lot on this page, so you can't really see the structural stuff. But if I come in here, I see structural. If I say a selection increase, it goes up by 1, and then it goes up again. It just continues going up the block structurally, so that we can, just like it works in C# or VB, that sort of thing. So that's that's selection increase there. Let's see if we work it out here, what we did get. Yeah, there we go. So that's kind of thing. This is the same kind of thing that you see in TypeScript or anywhere else, where it gets the inside of the string. One more hit on the key gets you the full string with the quotes. One more hit gets all the neighboring pieces. One more hit gets the enclosing braces, and then et cetera, all the way out to getting the whole file. And you can go backwards as well through this whole sequence. So that's selection increase and selection reduce. And that's in HTML and Razor. Rich comments. Okay, this is, I think, probably the most significant feature we have released in years in terms of what it brings and what you can do. It falls in the area of team communication, right? So that, and also, I guess, to some degree, communication with yourself as well at a later time. One of the big things in rich comments is that we let you paste images directly into source code comments. So if you're inside of a comment that's in source code, that's in C#, Visual Basic, F#, HTML, CSS, XAML, XML, etc. I think we're supporting T-SQL now. If you're inside of a comment in one of these files and you paste an image that's in the clipboard, you will see the image appear in the comment. But we've solved, so this may at first seem a little bit mind-blowing. There's a screenshot to the right of the rich comments right here. And I think I've got this actually out in the code, an example of this here. I think that's in line right here. And there it is right there. So here I am. I'm looking at actual source code here. What's really cool about this is this image is not stored in the file. In fact, if we click over here to the side and move the caret inside the image, you can see, oh, there's a PNG file reference that's right inside of there, right? There's the PNG right there. And that PNG file is located, I'll show you that. If you come up to the solution and you say open folder in File Explorer, and then we bring this up over here, you can see in my solution I've got a .cr folder, and in there we've got an images folder. And here are some of the images that I've copied and pasted inside of here. So the image is stored outside of the folder. Outside of the solution, rather. And there are some cool things that you can do with this image. You can, once it's in here, for example, you can select it and then you can resize it like this, okay? And, I think it's useful to show just how powerful this is. So what I'm going to do here for a second is I'm actually going to, this is going to drive everybody at DevExpress nuts, but watch this. I'm showing you my slides, and I'm going to go just crazy here, off rails. And I am going to come in here, and we're going to, let's change the fill color here to this. Let's grab one of these shapes, prop it down here like this, and we're going to just make right now inside of PowerPoint, we're going to make our own custom little icon right here. I want to get this format painter painted over there. Whoops, I didn't want it to go like that. All right, let's just do this, shape fill to that. And I'm going to select both of those, and I'm going to cut those to clipboard. So now everybody at DevExpress is going to be happy again. I've got a nice presentation there. And now I'm going to come down here, create a comment, and I'm just going to paste. And now that I've pasted it in, I'm going to just resize it like that. And now I've got it in here. And what's cool about this is because this is now automatically stored in that folder that I showed you, when I check in this source code, every other member of my team is going to be able to see this image when they get to this page. It's that fast and easy. You can get an image from a website, copy it, paste it inside of a comment. It's incredibly fast and easy. We lower the bar to getting images in the source code. And once they're in there, we do everything right. I know that I totally set myself up when I say that, but I've been studying this problem for over a decade in how to do this and all the things that can go wrong in this. But I feel like on this that we have nailed this problem in terms of making it so that it's easy to share these images, so that I can even, for example, come in here like this, right-click the image, say open file location like this, and then I've got it right there. I can change the image here if I choose to, and then everywhere else where it's already been pasted, it changes. But then if I come in and paste the image in again, then I get a brand new image in here, and it doesn't have those changes from before, for example, right? So all the different ways that this could go wrong, for example, slowing down compiles, it doesn't do that, right? It doesn't slow it down because it's a comment that's only this big. We're not storing it inside of that. Sharing is solved as well, right? You can, even if you choose to, replace this PNG with a full path to a file locally on your disk if you want to. You can also do things like, for example, and I'll talk about some of the other things that are going on in here, because you may have noticed, wait a second, there's bold in here and there's italics over here. And I'm seeing smaller fonts and larger fonts, some font size control. And I'll explain and show those in a bit. But I was going to also show that you can also do things. For example, I can come in here and I can combine these embedded images with templates. So for example, if I want to come in here and type in /dx here, which is a template I have, at least, I have it, but it's not for TypeScript. It's over here, going to happen over here in C#. I have it as a C# template, but not a TS template yet. So if I come in here and I type in DX right here, it'll come out and expand and give me the DevExpress image, so I can put it at the very top, right? Or if I want to tell people about my live Twitch channel where I code in CodeRush live 3 times a week in TypeScript, I can put that up there just by using that template that then is going to expand to that image, and everybody can see that, right? I can also similarly use that when I want to talk to other members of my team. For example, I might say, oh, you know what, this is a really nice method right here. And I can come in, and I think I've got a template called /nice, which does this. Or I can say, oh, you know what, I don't like this, and I've got one called /pu, which will give me this right here, right? And these are kind of fun, but they also could potentially have purpose, right? If you're talking to other members of the team and you want to kind of give feedback on what you're seeing there. So it's a way to communicate. Let me show you some real ways that are what I'm calling like really essential ways that I'm using this. One of the ways is in this particular function right here. In this function, I've got a call to draw image, which takes 9 different parameters. And when I went to research those, because I needed to crop an image when I drew it, I saw this image and I thought, oh, perfect. So I just copied it and pasted it. And now with it in here, and as I was writing the code, and later when I come back to maintain the code, I'm going to be able to reference this image to see that, oh, I see SX is the distance in the source image across here to where I'm grabbing it, right? And SY is down here. And now I can more readily understand what these otherwise terse variables mean. And that's incredibly powerful. So that's one of the ways that I use this. I also use it as kind of a marking of kind of a placeholder or kind of a locator marking in the code as I'm going through the code. So for example, here where I've got code that deals with these walls, I've just pasted the wall bitmap right on in there, and I can see that. Codes that deal with the drones, I've got those right in there as well. There's the paint splat right there. And so I can see, I can kind of bookmark or the areas of my code that have to do with these things that I'm working with, so I can go through and see them. So if you've got visual elements, you can put those in the code as well. Let's see, where else did I have that was kind of interesting on this? Gravity games, I think I had a couple examples in here as well. Here, this was actually kind of interesting because I was working with my son in this, and we were putting in these lines of code where we were specifying for each, we were collecting data from about the planet. So this first number is the gravity that's being passed in. And we were just collecting the data right here. The second one is the distance from the sun. We were putting those in there, but we were also putting a picture of each planet there. So we could, and one of the cool things is that when you're teaching kids, it kind of was, it was holding his interest, I think, longer because we're able to put that image in every single time as we were going through there. So kind of some cool things in here in terms of what you can do here. In this piece right here, another real example where I needed the image in the code. I needed to write some code that extended a vector. And so I drew a picture of this first to kind of show what I wanted to do with some sample easy data to work with. And then I started doing some regular math. I wrote down Pythagorean's theorem, the slope equation, and then I substituted for y, and ultimately came down to an equation and got the code. And so this is my history of how I got this code, which is useful if somebody else is going to get up to speed quickly and figure out what the heck is going on here. Because often when you're working with math, you get to something like this, which is not as easy to read as maybe something like this that explains what's going on. So there's the value there. Real quickly, I'll show that, look, if I want to change the font size, I can specify minuses or pluses like this, and I can change the font size like that. I can also, if I'm more familiar with the markdown, I can use markdown to do that as well. So I can do that. I can also hide the front leading comment delimiter with this character, that backtick character. So if I take that away, we'll see the comment as I go away from it, but if I put it back in, the comment goes away. So I can just get rid of that if I want to, if I consider that a little too noisy. In here, we're just using markdown as well. When I click on the comment, I can modify that markdown. One of the new things that we've added as well is we've added the ability to comment out. For example, let's say I wanted to do something like this, which would normally be bolded when the X is bolded when I go away from it like that. But I wanted to actually see those. I can just add 2 more comment delimiters here, and now everything is a literal comment when I move out of it. So I can do that if I've got anything like that I want to just show literally. And of course, I can turn it on and off simply just from here. So if I can turn everything off or turn everything on, just like that. Okay, that's not where I want to be. I think I want to be here. Okay, so that's rich comments. Anything else I want to show you there? Works with undo, redo, copy and paste, zoom, everything. We have, like I said, I think that we really nailed the implementation of this this feature. You can also crop. I didn't show that, but it's very easy to crop. You just click and it's like a first-class citizen. Also, people can edit the image and the source code outside of VS, and you still get it when you come back. So that's rich comments. The training window. This is something that was in CodeRush Classic. We've ported it over to CodeRush for Roslyn. It shows you available features while you work, depending on where you are. It's a great way to learn templates, to kind of be introduced into what kinds of templates you can use. Those show up in the top. And it also will dynamically reflect your shortcut bindings. So if you change your bindings, you'll see the bindings you've changed them to right here. Mega Super Copy. I'm actually kind of excited about this. I like this feature a lot. It's a little bit mind-blowing when you think about it, because we kind of said, hey, let's take the clipboard and take it to the next level. But essentially, it's a richer, more powerful copy. And it allows you to pre-select parts you want to change, copy those to the clipboard, and future pastes are going to prompt you with those areas you pre-selected to fill those in. And it's smart enough to link things together if it sees the pre-selected parts are are in common, or alternatively, you can set options so that it will search for things that match and keep those in sync and link them. So it's very, very powerful in that regard. I want to give you a quick demo of Mega Super Copy as well. Over here in Background Worker, I've got a function I wrote called drone write, and it's got inside of it a string called drone write. It's part of signal R. We're just going out of calling execute command, but I need a drone up, a drone down, and a drone left. So normally you'd copy this and make changes in each piece, paste, and keep repeating that. But you're spending a lot of time moving the caret to the right place you want to change. What I'm going to do instead is I'm going to use a CodeRush feature called multi-select. Actually, there's two CodeRush features that I'm using here. One of them is camel case navigation, which we've had for years, which if I hold the Alt and Shift key down and move left or right, I'll move one camel case word at a time. So I'm just going to grab the word I want right here, and I'm going to hit Control, Alt, Enter, and that's going to do multi-select. Multi-select is the second function, the second CodeRush feature. I'm going to do the same thing down here, multi-select this. This is in a string, so I need to explicitly tell it that these two are connected by doing this. I could also select something else if I wanted to, but in this case, I don't need to. Then I'm going to just simply select the code, copy it, just like I normally would. So I just hit the copy key, Control-C or Control-Insert, and now I'm going to hit the paste key. Shift Insert or Control V. And now look at what it's done for me. Now I'm just going to type in up, and I'm going to hit Enter, and I'm at the end of the line. Come down one more time. I'm going to hit Control Alt V to repeat the last paste. And now I'm going to type in left like this, and then hit Enter, and Control Alt V one more time, and type in down. And look at how fast that is to write that code. Right? When you know you've got something that you need similar pieces of with slight variations, it's much faster to use Mega Super Copy on that than it is to go through all those changes. And all you're really doing is just pre-marking it in advance. So super powerful to do. You can also use this. I find this is also useful on if-else sequences where we're checking to see if it's one thing, then do something. If it's something else, then do a different thing. And often I even see examples of that where there are pieces in common as I go down the code there. Pull member up. Well, refactoring some code providers. These are some of the changes we've made in 18.2. We've added pull member up. We've added support for C#7's pattern matching in both conditional to switch, switch to conditional, as well as compressed to ternary expression and its reverse as well. So we've done that and expect to see that as a common trend as we move forward. We expect to add support to new language features as they come out very quickly. So we're upgrading our refactorings and staying in sync with Visual Studio. Parameterized tests. Let's take a look at this. This is just, I've got a couple other demos in here. Over here, I've got some parameterized tests, right? So I've got one test case that's kind of built, and I've got these are the different parameters that I want to pass into it. So I'm just going to come in here and I'm going to say, run all these tests. And we get one of them failed, and you can see this right here. If I hover over this, if I click on this and I choose run test, I can see which one failed here. It's the 3, 4, 5 false, which is the very top one right above the menu there that you can see right up here. And the reason why is because the test state is incorrect. It should be true. So I'm just going to change that over to true right there. I can say run all, or I can come in and I can say, let's just run that very specific, particular test, which is right here, right now, and I can do that, and we can run that, or I can say go ahead and run all the tests, that sort of thing, or whatever I want to do on that, and I can see what the results are on that. The other piece I wanted to show you is in the null ref exceptions. I want to show you that because we added that testing, and inside of the options, let me bring it up in the options first. I'm going to come in here and type in null right here, and there's a couple places where this shows up. One of them here is in C# code analysis, possible null ref exception. Also in Visual Basic, possible null ref exception. So we have it in these two places. And we can come in here and we can specify the level of scrutiny that we apply to checking for these null references. Everything from none to trusting to skeptical to thorough. And trusting and skeptical are basically, they're just looking for either can be null or not null attributes somewhere on that declaration for that element, for the property, for the field, for whatever you specify it for. And thorough means that if it does not have those attributes, we're going to go in and try to verify that it can never be null. And if we are able to verify that, then we're good and there's no warning. Otherwise, if we're not able to verify that, we'll come back with a warning, some kind of warning. Now, with regards to what the warning is, if you click up here on Code Issues Catalog, which also showed up when I searched for null, and I come in here and I just type in null again to do a secondary search in here, possible system null reference exception. If I click on that, I'm going to look for it, and then I can specify what the severity of the error is here. So right now it's going to come up as an info. So with those options both set, I can come in here in Code Issues and refresh this. And now within here, we should be able to find some of these null reference exceptions right here. So for example, here's an example where stir is passed in, and we're not checking to see if it's not null, and we're referencing it. So there's a possible opportunity for a null ref exception to occur here and here and here and here. So these are kind of interesting checks and they impact the quality of your code. So that is, I want to show those as some of the new things that we've been working on too that we've built. This is not the comprehensive list. You can check the what's new on that for everything and the detail there. With regards to where you can get it, there are two locations you can get it. You can get it from the Visual Studio Marketplace or from the DevExpress Download Manager, either one of those. And let me just bring up those right here. Download Manager is going to get you out. It will be out here. Let me do this. Let me take this. I'm going to pop that in the chat room. And we're sending this to the entire audience. Here it goes. And the Visual Studio Marketplace is the other place that you can get CodeRush. And if you're an existing CodeRush user and you love it, I would encourage you to come out and out to here and review it. Add a review out here. Let people know what you think about it. Our goal is to do well, right? So if you think we're doing well and you want to talk to us about it, let us know. And if you think we're not doing well, let us know as well. Although if you think we're really not doing well, don't hurt us out here. What I want you to do is send it to us and let us fix it. Give us a chance to fix it, test out our support, see how responsive we are, then go out and write the review, right? Because we definitely want to make you happy, and we want that review to be, a reflection of our support and how responsive we are to any kind of issues you have. We are at about 400,000 installs. We are close to breaking 400,000 installs, on our way to 500,000. We got a lot of folks out here using it. And we are all about taking care of you guys. That's what we want to do. We want to build the fastest, most awesome tool for you for development inside of Visual Studio. And with that, Amanda, I'm going to say thank you. Thanks to all our customers, for all your support. Thanks for everybody out here watching this right now. I really appreciate it. I'm going to answer any questions. I know I've just been barreling through here. So I'm going to go look through the chat room, see if there are any questions, and we'll stay for that, I think, for a little bit. And Amanda, I'll pass it back to you while I take a look at the chat.
Okay. Hey, Mark, there are a couple questions in there. One from Ty. He says, right at the beginning, he asked, is this for both CodeRush Roslyn and the full pre-version? It doesn't work for him. I think you were doing the image.
The CodeRush Classic. No, the image embedding is not in CodeRush Classic. So we have not put it in there, and we probably are not going to put it in there. That would have to be in response to a lot of customer requests. But my sense is we probably will not. We are actually more interested in putting it in VS Code than we are in taking it back out. Maybe I shouldn't have said that, but that's all I just said, and so we'll just delete that in the edited version. Okay? That's why people love me talking, isn't it? Because
exactly.
Kids love me around Christmas time. They're like, so Dad, tell us. All right, so what else do we have in here? What other?
What about suggesting syntax for the latest version of C#? Does CodeRush have plans to do this?
Hold on a second. I see another comment I want to look. I'm just looking at this. I got to make this a little bigger. I'm sorry, man. I was reading something else. The question was, can I do this, Amanda? Can I answer the one I was reading? And I'm making the window a little bigger. It's really tiny for me on the piece here. There's my pop out button. That's what I really want to do. Okay, great. All right, so the question I was looking at, how's the performance and load time? And I see it has been answered all right here. So let's see. How's the performance load when you have several comments with images compared side by side with the same solution with no images? Yeah, there's no, so David's asking the question. The answer is, yeah. The answer is good. The answer is totally good there. Basically, there's no impact on the performance and load time because we load them in the background and it's only asked for when the image is displayed in the editor. And what happens is we'll show you a broken image until we actually go out and load that. So when you first open it up, you'll immediately see it with possibly a broken image, and then less than a second later, we'll fill it with, when we get the image, we'll fill it in. So the impact is not there. Let's see, what was it? Let me go down to the question you were looking at, Amanda. ReSharper has some nice features, such as suggesting syntax for the latest version of C#. Does CodeRush have similar plans? I think the answer is in general, if there's a nice feature out there that we don't have that has to do with productivity, helping you go faster, helping you move your code to a more recent version of the C# language or the VB language, yes, we are interested in that. We're interested in that because it helps our customers out, and we're also interested in it because it helps Microsoft bring more people to the newer version. It keeps more people in Visual Studio. All of those things are interesting to us. So yes, we're interested in those. If there's a specific feature, Ty, that you are looking at, that you want, you want to direct us to something that you think we don't have, for sure, send that to us. We'll take a look at it. We have developers from the team who are watching this as well, and I'm sure you've piqued their interest, and they're out there taking a look, making sure that we are, that there's nothing we're missing out there. So, so definitely that's a conversation we want to continue to have on an ongoing basis. Also, if you've come up with something that you think, hey, here's an opportunity that could help a lot of developers, we definitely want to hear about that because we want to show we're responsive to customers, right? Customer requests. So we're motivated to do that. And because we want to have happy customers, we want to get, customers that give us good reviews, that speak well about the product. So yeah, we're incredibly motivated to make our developers happy. Let's see, we're interested in testing coders. We want to make sure to try the right version for our needs. We develop ASP.NET web form websites with Visual Studio 2017. Get the latest version. The question is, which do you recommend? You want basically, so the question is CodeRush for VS 2017 support or CodeRush Ultimate. So what I would recommend is CodeRush itself, just CodeRush itself, not CodeRush Classic. If you buy anything that says CodeRush on it that does not say CodeRush Classic, you're going to be fine. CodeRush Ultimate includes CodeRush Classic, but it also includes the latest version of CodeRush, and it includes support as well. So, as long as you stay away from CodeRush Classic all by itself, you'll be fine with what you want to do. Okay. And it looks like, it looks like that's questions, but I see I've got a scroll bar. What else do I have here? There's a link here. Support Center. I'm not sure. Do I want to do this? Oh, VS Code. Yeah, Ty's talking about that. Yeah, we want to head over into that. We're looking in that direction. We are trying to get a breakthrough over there, and specifically with the embedded images. We want to do that because we've got some really interesting directions that we're looking at. One of them is that. The other one is on GitHub previews for the source code, because we want your preview to show the image as well, and they'll have everything they need. So we're actually looking at modifying, going in and making changes in both of those directions, because we want this to become not a proprietary thing. There's nothing proprietary about what we're doing in this. We're just simply, I've already talked about the details of the image embedding. I want this to be a radical change across the board for all programming languages. And so that's why we're looking at taking resources from the team and looking at how we can modify GitHub so GitHub can support this, how we can modify VS Code with what possibly may be a free plugin for VS Code, nothing that you'd have to pay for, to be able to support images that are embedded in source code. Yeah, I'm like the worst guy to keep secrets. So you really want to be shutting me up here pretty soon here, Amanda, as I reflect upon all the things I say. But this is these are things that we are looking at. It's our intended direction. We want image embedding to change the world. I want it to change what source code can be. So that's my intention. That's the effort we want to put in there. Any plan for creating shortcut sheet for other keyboard layouts? Juan Simon is asking that. Juan, I need a little more detail on what you're asking there, because if you're talking about keyboard layouts, then the shortcut sheets already are there. If you're talking about, like, for example, Vim, and you're asking, are there, for example, templates or things like that to emulate a Vim environment, there are not. But if you're talking about other keyboard layouts, such as a non-English keyboard layout, or for example, Colmac layout instead of QWERTY or Dvorak, we're essentially already there. I actually work on a Colmac keyboard layout, and there's really been no change at all, no needed changes for the templates. The only thing I added from my particular layout one is I added a little more forgiveness for the semicolon, because the semicolon in the Colmac layout is close to the letters Y and O. And I added some things to allow me to accidentally hit some things that don't make sense code-wise, but seem to indicate that I want to terminate the line and replace it. Those are personal ones for me. No other changes I've made. Sebastian Desmarius says, thank you. You're welcome, Sebastian. Totally happy to be here for you guys. Also, if you want to watch me code in CodeRush, like I say, I do it 3 times a week at twitch.tv/CodeRush. I'm in CodeRush writing code in JavaScript, TypeScript, and C#. And so you can go check out that if you want to. I'll put that out in the chat room. It looks like that might be it, Amanda, for questions. Yeah. Do you agree with that?
I do agree with that.
All right.
Mark, can you put that link in there for your Twitch channel?
I'm doing it now. Yeah.
Okay.
Here we go.
Awesome.
It is twitch.tv/CodeRush. And there it is.
Oh, perfect. All right. Thank you, Mark. Like I mentioned before, today's webinar will be made available later on our DevExpress YouTube channel. You will also get a follow-up email with a link to this webinar recording sometime next week. And we do have a whole week of 18.2 webinars coming up this week. You can register at devexpress.com/webinars. And that is it for this one. Thank you so much to Mark. Thank you all for joining us. And of course, thank you for choosing DevExpress.